Hi everyone, it's Sarah from Plan Sarah Plan, and today I'm excited to try out the Writech Bible Mate highlighters and pens. I saw these advertised in my Instagram feed and I was just scrolling along not looking for them, but I was delighted when I saw them. And I ordered these from Amazon. This is a set that has 6 highlighters and 3 ballpoint pens, and we're going to test them in all different sorts of Bibles, but we're also going to test these in various planners and notebooks that I have, so we can find out exactly which paper is best for these, because apparently what you can do is write with the pen and then highlight over it with no smudging. Before we dive into the test, I want to say that the ballpoint pens come in 3 colors, but they are all black ink, and they have words on them like faith, grace, hope. The highlighters, I don't think that the color name is on here, but we are going to call the color Trust. And you can see what color it is on the barrel. This one is called Bless. This one is called Faith. This one is called Grace. This one is called Hope, and this one is called Love. Now, if you have tried to highlight over a pen before, you may have experienced some serious smudging. So a lot of people will highlight first and then write on top of it, particularly if you are writing with a gel pen. These are not gel pens, but we're going to see how they write. Typically, I'm not a ballpoint pen fan, but we are going to see if we like these ballpoint pens. They are a 0.7 tip, so they should be kind of medium or fine. Okay, I'm not going to highlight on that because I don't know what type of pen I use to write my name. Instead, what I would like to do is go to the back. And this is the same paper that is in the rest of the Bible. Let's just use this fresh sheet and find out what I am dying to know. First of all, if you can write with the pen and then highlight on top of it with no smudging. So I'm going to write the name of the pen. Okay, so that has a feel sort of like a gel pen. It's not as slip and slidey as a lot of ballpoint pens are, so I like that. One reason I like gel pens in the first place is because they don't slip around as much, at least that's how I describe it. And it helps me to make my handwriting neater. But this one had less slip and slidey than a typical ballpoint pen, in my opinion. So now we're going to highlight on top of it with this Bless color. And there is no smudging. Now, some of you might be saying, but wait a minute, you let it dry. So let's do it faster. I'll just write one word. And then we will highlight immediately. I don't see any smudging at all. So let's do just a smear test. Okay, so I rubbed it immediately and it smeared just ever so slightly. And I never do that, by the way, in practical use. I don't throw down the pen and do that. So I think you're safe. Let me do it at normal speed. Very little, if any, smudging. Okay, so let's go through and, well, you might just want to see how it highlights a verse. So let's go ahead. Let's go here to this Bible reading plan. It's not a verse, but we're just going to look at this Bible reading plan and highlight how to read the book. Okay, and let's see if it bleeds through. Here it is right here. It is not bleeding through. That's good. Let's go back to the blank page. Let's see how it did on the other side. You can see it, but it did not bleed through. You can see the ballpoint pen especially, but it did not bleed through. Okay, so let's just do this, then this one. I like that kind of pale. It's not super fluorescent. And instead of orange, that is almost peach. It's kind of a nice vintage green. Okay, and we'll flip the page and see how these did. It's right here. So you can sort of see where I released the pen, released the highlighter. That's a typical result with highlighters, but I would not call this bleed through. I would just say this is super thin Bible paper and you can see it through, but it is not bleed through. I would feel safe highlighting in my Bible. Let's go ahead and just highlight some actual text here. I don't know what you call Bible paper, but it is definitely a thin paper because there are so many pages. The book will be super thick. Okay, so let's see how this does on the other side. There you go. I don't see a thing. Well, sort of over here. But I don't even see where I lifted it this time. I think you were totally safe highlighting in your Bible with this. Totally safe. Let's try a different Bible. This is called the Inspire Journaling Bible, and it is a New Living Translation, and it has these little things you can color. So maybe we ought to just try that. Let's fill in. All 6, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And here we are. I can see it through in a transparency kind of a way, but not in a bleed through way. Makes sense. Okay. Renew a right spirit within me. Let's see how that does. It's right here. No bleed through. Okay, let's try a different Bible. This is a Crossway Publisher Holy Bible English Standard Version, and it is also a journaling Bible. And I thought, let's just go ahead and turn to the same verse, Psalm 51:10, and highlight it as well. And see how that does. Where I push down the highlighter right at the very beginning, you have shadowing, but there's no bleed through. And then let's just write with the pen also. Okay, and then we will highlight it. Sometimes you can tell more about smudging if you do a light one. That does really well. If you do a light highlighter on top of dark ink, you can kind of see more. That did really well. Let's see what the bleed through is. You cannot see the highlighter very much, but you can see where I wrote. So it does shadow. It didn't bleed through, but it shadows. And it just does a great job with not smudging under the highlighter. Try one more Bible. Here is a much older Bible that I have. It's like a Precious Memories Bible. It's a New King James Version, and I'm just going to go to the same verse, and we'll try the purple. Psalm 51, verse 10, right here. Okay. And just the same as the other 3 Bibles. It's thin paper so you can see it, but it did not bleed through. Point. Okay, and then we'll highlight on that. Okay, it did not smear the ballpoint ink. And oh, okay, so if you write and there is like print on the other side, you don't see it almost at all. Okay, so now why don't we try this in some planners and notebooks? Okay, so this is an Erin Condren 8x10 softbound planner, and we're just going to take a page like back here, a notes page, in the back, and I'm going to go into time lapse just to save a bit of time, and then we'll come back and look at the bleed through and the smudging and all of that. So all of these tested really well. The highlighter tested really well. I used the lightest highlighter, well, one of the two lightest highlighters on top of the pen. Then I used all of the highlighters over pen here, and then pen on top of highlighter. And I did this smear test, like I pushed very hard, and I did it immediately after I wrote smear test. And it just kind of softens the edges of the letters more than it smears. And this is the Erin Condren 8x10. So this is the paper that comes in all of those kind of soft bound planners from Erin Condren. That sheet is the same thickness as any of these sheets, so it would probably perform the same way. And then let's look at the back. It does great. I don't see anything. I can barely see some shadow of the ballpoint pen, but almost not. So you would be really safe using this in an Erin Condren softbound. Let's try a coiled Erin Condren. So this is different paper on the inside than the softbound version. So let's take a notes page of regular thickness. I'm not going to use a divider page because that is thicker, but this is the standard 80-pound Mohawk paper that is in all of the Erin Condren coiled planners and coiled notebooks. Okay, it felt fine. There was no trouble writing on this somewhat textured paper that is characteristic of the Erin Condren coil books, and no bleed through. This works so great. So perfect application, not just in your Bibles, but maybe even more optimally in this thicker paper that's in the Erin Condren coil books and also the Erin Condren softbound books. This is my PowerSheets from last year from Cultivate What Matters, and I don't think the paper has changed this year. And I don't have many blank pages. All right, so here is a month in review that I did not do, so we will do our pen test right here. Okay, so just for kicks, I used a pen that has a Pilot Precise rollerball refill inside, and it didn't work as well, but if I let it dry, I did a smudge test on this paper with that, which is not really what we're testing here, but just for fun. And it did smudge, so I let it dry a little bit and then highlighted over it, and it still smudged a little bit, not with my finger, but with the highlighter. So this is specifically good so far with the ballpoint pen that is also called Bible Mate. And if you look right here, there was absolutely no smudging under the highlighter here. And here are all the colors. We'll see if they bled through. So it will be right here. Nothing bled through. Nothing bled through. But I'm not going to be able to test every brand of pen with these highlighters because I think that it's meant to go with the ballpoint pen that comes with the set. But let's try a different brand of planner. Like the Passionate Penny Pincher, this is the home planner, this year's version. So we'll find a notes page and do the pen test here. Okay, so I've got a pocket right there, but still, I'll just use this area up there that won't be bumpy at all, and we'll do a pen test. Okay, it wrote really smoothly. It did not smudge underneath the highlighter when I wrote ballpoint underneath and then highlighter. Then when I did a smear test right after writing, it did not smear. And then as far as bleed through goes, we're right in this area. We should see something right here if it bled, and it did not. Works great in Passionate Penny Pincher Home Planner. This is the Refresh Brain Dump Journal. This is from Cultivate What Matters, and I don't know if it has the same paper as we had in the PowerSheets. It's the same brand, but I don't know. So let's do a brand new pen test in here. And we'll do it right here on this graph sheet because it's pretty blank there and we can really judge the bleed through. It performed really well. On this side, I did a smear test here after I wrote test, and basically it just softened the edges. It did not smear. And then I did highlighter over ballpoint pen on all 6 colors, or with all 6 colors. And let's check the bleed through. There is no bleed through. If you lift it up off the desk, you can see shadowing, but you cannot see anything when it's down on the desk. So that is the Refresh Brain Dump Journal from Cultivate What Matters. Let's try another. This is a Laurel Denise portrait planner, and Laurel Denise is becoming a very popular planner brand. So let's find a notes page. Got a graph sheet here in the back, and I believe we can test right here. Okay, so very similar result. Over here, when I did the smear test immediately after writing, it just softened the edges. It did not really smear it. None of this smeared when I highlighted on top of the ballpoint pen. And for bleed through, we would be right here. And I do not see any bleed through at all, not even shadowing. So it works great in your Laurel Denise planners. The same paper would be in the portrait as is in the horizontal and vertical layout. So I would just say pretty much all of the Laurel Denise planners would work well with these. Day Designer is another very popular brand of planner. So let's find a notes page. Here we go. And Day Designer paper is a little bit thinner than these other planners, so this will be an interesting pen test. Okay, very similar writing experience. The smearing was non-existent. It just softened the edges again, like I said before. And as far as bleed through, we don't even have bleed through in the Day Designer, which has thinner paper. So that's impressive, very nice. I don't even see shadowing. So if you plan in a Day Designer, you would love this set as well. This is an Ashley Shelley monthly planner, notebook kind of planner, and let's find a notes page. I think there's one after every month. So let's just use this one in the back. Very similar result here. I would say the Ashley Shelley paper is thicker than the Day Designer paper. It's comparable to the thickness of the Cultivate What Matters PowerSheets paper, and it worked really well. The smearing just didn't happen at all. No smearing, no smudging when I highlighted over the ballpoint pen. And let's see the bleed through. There is no bleed through, so this will work great in your Ashley Shelley planners as well. This is from the Get Organized HQ. It's their Get Organized HQ planner. So this paper is totally different because it feels like a very thick newsprint to me. So that might perform differently. Let's go ahead and test it here. How do we do here? The smearing did not happen. It is a more textured paper, and it just reminds me of, it's probably not newsprint, but it just has the feel of a thick newsprint, like thicker than newspaper, but kind of a texture similarity. Okay, and then all of this did really well. The ballpoint pen did not smear underneath the highlighters, and as for bleed through, we had no bleed through as well. So that's nice to know that it will work in your Get Organized HQ planner. So to sum up, these are great. They are wonderful for studying your Bible. They are wonderful for your planners. I am so pleased, and I'm especially pleased that even though I prefer gel pens most of the time, these write beautifully. And when I want to highlight over, like if I do my memory verse in my planner and I want to highlight certain words in it, I could use this pen, even if I'm not using this pen for the entire spread, but I could. It's really nice. Another thing that I appreciate is the clicker. I don't have to keep track of any lids. I really like that. Clicker here as well. It's got this nice little clip, so you could clip it onto the cover of your notebook or your planner, clips like that. This would also probably click. it's got this kind of a clip. So you could slide it on or maybe secure it on a handful of pages, like maybe 5 or so pages. So I really like these. I like the colors, and I hope they come out with even more colors because they're really neat. Maybe some muted pinks and tans, beiges, and things like that. Maybe that's on the way if these are popular. Let me know if you have any questions. I tried to make this as thorough as possible without making it extremely long, but I know I didn't cover every single planner out there. My hunch is that if it worked in the ones that I tried, it's going to work in your planner. But if you have a specific planner that you want to try, you can reach out, and if I do have one of those, I will let you know in an answer to a comment if it bleeds and performs well. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.